Yo, man, this episode was hype. Oh my, this is what I signed up for. This episode. My God. Yo, guys, what is up? Today I come to you yet with another weekly review of All Out, and we are at episode 9. And this episode is the conclusion between the practice match of Segami and Jinko. But this was a perfect end to the practice match. And if you were like me and you were at the edge of your seats, can you just imagine what official matches will look like in the near future? Now, we know where Oharano had to be substituted off the field because he was letting his emotions get in the way of his plays after he was provoked by one of the Segami players regarding his brother, so he had to be substituted with Ebumi. And this episode it was Ebumi and Seki-san. This was their episode, man. Ebumi. If you did not like Ebumi before, this episode gave you a reason to love him, because remember that the character by the name of Hana, the one that was provoking our favorite little sunshine son, Sumiyaki, he was provoking him and telling him about how he should have hurted Miyuki before the competition, before the championship, and what have you. And, he was acting all big, all tough by provoking and aggravating the players. Now we have where Ebumi comes onto the field, and we know Ebumi is a fast runner, but we never seen him in actual play. This episode proved to us just how skilled Ebumi is as a rugby player. Now it came to the point where we see he and Matsu have a really good relationship. They are actually very friendly towards each other. Matsu kicks the ball, and we would have thought it would have got intercepted by Hana, on Segami's team. And we see where Ebumi catches the ball in midair. And he's in midair, and Hana and him are sharing a glance at each other. They're looking at each other. And before Hana can even react, we see where Ebumi's knee come into contact with his chin. And then Hana's like this. And then Ebumi scores a try. And I was so freaking happy, because I said, you deserve, for all the crap that you were saying in last week's episode, you deserve a knee in the chin. You deserve that. And that had him quite shook. But that's not the end of it. We see again where Ebumi gets the ball again, and he's about to go run to get to the try, and we have Hana there to, he should stop him. He's so scared because of what Ebumi did before that Ebumi just came and just bulldozed him over and got another try. And he was shaking in his boots. He was like a chihuahua shaking. And the funniest part was where Ebumi caught his helmet, because caught Hana's helmet and put it back on him. And it says, make sure you secure your helmet, because I don't know if I can hold myself back from knocking you on your ass again. And I was just like, Ebumi for the win, man. I love this character. I also noticed that a lot of people compare him to some character from iShield 21. Now, I never watched that series, but in terms of character looks, they do kind of look similar. I guess in personality as well. But so far from what I can see, Ebumi in this series is completely badass. Now, in regards to Seki-san, now with everything that was happening in last week's episode, you wondering where the hell is the captain of Jinko? And, why didn't he put a stop to a lot of Segami's dirty plays and everything, and their provoking of the team? And he shows up in this episode. Now, Sagami is not liking how they're being led by Jinko, so they start to up their game in the second half of the game. And, they're doing more tackles, they're scoring more tries. And we have where some player on Jinko is tackling the players and causing them to get really hurt, and that's actually Seki-san. He's tackling the hell out of Segami players. Now we have where he got the ball. He secured the ball, and I believe the captain of Segami was about to go kick the ball, but he couldn't stop his leg in time before his foot came into contact with Segami's head. Seki-san's head. Now, got scared for a moment because I thought with the force that he put behind that kick, I thought he knocked out Sekizan for a good second. And I'm like, dude, you're going to make me want to fight you for that. No one does that to Sekizan. But we see where Sekizan gets up, and the captain is asking him, are you fine? Are you okay? Sekizan gets up, and you see like a small puddle of blood dropping at his feet. And he just turns around. And whenever you see a character, especially in action series, where when they find an opponent that they feel is worthy of them, they have this gleam look in their face, and then they start grinning like mad. They start grinning. And that was Sekizan, but with tons of blood just coming down his face. And he's happy because he says, we are figuring out Segami. So the play continues, and the plays are getting even rougher, and it just has you at the edge of your seat. And I love the quote that Sekizan made. It was like, if one man's not enough, get two to tackle them. If two's not enough, throw three at them, because we saw some Jinko players, they couldn't handle, one person couldn't handle, so he was going in, and then two players couldn't handle a guy, and he threw himself in the mix to make three. So they were doing anything they could to stop Segami. Now it comes in regards to the advisor, and I had one of the viewers in the comment section saying that don't be so easy to put off the advisor as soon, as quickly as you can. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna think about it. And I saw this episode. Now to the viewer, I can't Sepulture XX, I hope I pronounced that right. I saw what you were meaning, what you were getting at with the advisor. We got a flashback, and it was him being put into position as the advisor of the Jinko team. Clearly, the school didn't really care about the rugby team. The only thing they said is that they just make sure that the team members did not get hurt. Now, at the time, he did not know anything about rugby. He was actually the one that got all those references books that we saw Sekizan reading, because he didn't understand what rugby was. So him reading that, it would have gave him some clarification on how the game is played. Now, the reason why he acts so cold is actually due to past members on the rugby team. They did not want to listen to what he said. They found him to be a nuisance, saying that he didn't know anything about rugby, and basically they wanted to do things their own way. They wanted to be independent. Hence why the reason he gave that answer to Coach Komori back in last week's episode. And, with the whole conversation both of them were saying, in a way, I sympathize with the advisor. But at the same time, I have to completely agree with Coach Komori saying that, when I paraphrase, is that you have to give these kids the ready, set, go. Basically, you give them that foundation. You lay out that plan for them to tell them, the proper steps and guidance for them to set out for their future goals. If you do not do that for them, they are going to wander around aimlessly. And the fact that he is an advisor, an educational advisor, it really was no excuse for him to turn his back and be cold to these students, because you never know who could have needed that help. And it's his job in the educational field to do that. He shouldn't have let his personal emotions cloud his judgment as someone who is supposed to guide children. Like, no matter how big and buff these guys are and they look like grown men, they are children at the end of the day, and they need that person to be able to tell them the proper steps that they need in order to secure a proper future. So, I understand where you were coming from. I sympathize with the advisor, but his actions were uncalled for at the end of the day. And he is an adult, so he is very much responsible for these kids. But nonetheless, this episode was fantastic. The episode left off on a cliffhanger with the game ending. My conclusion is that Jinko didn't win, but they won something a lot more greater at the end of the day. They may not have won the actual practice match, but they gained something much greater. So to end on that note, If you guys saw this week's episode of All Out, episode 9, do drop in the comment section below on how you felt about this week's episode. What was your most favorite moment of this week's episode? I would love to hear that. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and I will see you guys later. Bye!